Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Well, hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Oxshire, on the show this evening as my mucker Southside, the legend that is the Bridgeman. And we've also been joined by Ewan McFarlane from Club 1872, who's going to talk about football before he talks about Club 1872. Evening, gentlemen. Evening, Southside.
Evening, Ox. Good to be back on the night on a Monday after a good result. Good to be joined by the legend, the Bridgeman, and also Ewan tonight. It'd be good to hear Ewan talking about the team that he loves, Rangers Football Club. And I'll give a shout out to all the troops on the YouTube channel that's joined us already. So I'd like to give William and Steve and that a shout out, and hope you enjoy the show tonight, mate. So thanks for inviting us along again.
Yeah, always good to hear from you, mucker. How are we doing, Bridge?
Good evening, Oxshire, and good evening to Southside. Excuse me, and Ewan. Welcome, Ewan. Enjoy yourself. Can I just say to all the techie boys in the background, have a good night. And to all the Rangers fans listening in, excuse me, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio.
Evening, Ewan. Thanks for taking the time, mate, to join us on Rangers Radio.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having us on, guys. I really appreciate it. I was pleased to see you guys reaching out to offer the invite. And as you said, look, even just being able to talk about a wee bit of football first before we get into some of the business side of Club 1872 and what we're up to. So, but yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, usually on a Monday night, mate, it doesn't take us long to run through the goals, but it might take us a wee bit longer tonight.
Enjoyable as it will be, yes.
Southside, it was nearly a Carlsberg weekend, but we'll not mention the Super Six. We'll leave that to another evening. But it was nearly a Carlsberg one, but a good week all in for the club going forward. Plenty of rest, plenty of changes, people getting minutes, plenty of goals, confidence. All good, mate.
Aye, well, it's good to see 5 goals in the first half. Set pieces, the guys come in and he's certainly getting us to score goals from set pieces. Some other players getting a chance to come on the park and get a few minutes. Even Matondo getting on the park was something rare, wasn't it? Aye. But all in all, listen, it was a professional job, well done. A bit of a training exercise, but listen, it had to be done, and it's good for some of your new players to come in and go on the score sheet as well, Ops.
Knowing where you sit, mate, yeah? And knowing your view on the game, mate, what's your initial views on Romance?
He's very quick. He's quite an intelligent player. He's got good delivery. He seems to, for all the short time we've seen him on the park, he seemed to have linked up well with Ant-Man in the first half, playing on the left-hand side. But I think he's going to become, he's looking like he's going to turn into a really good player. He looks confident, mate, and he's certainly got the pace on the left-hand side that we're looking for. Not really been tested defensively yet, but his deliveries and that when he gets to the edge of the box and his intelligence seems to be very good at the moment. He Ox.
I hope it's not a Herrera moment, mate.
Aye, for you.
Bridgeman, lot of goals, lot of good play. What's your thoughts?
Oh yeah, probably the best Rangers have played this season for sure. And well done to the manager, because that was a brave. For me, I wouldn't have played the players in the first half, but they were absolutely excellent, outstanding. And that boy, is it Remens or Romans? I'll tell you, that's a find. That guy, he's got quality pouring at him. He managing to pull the ball down, chesting it down, and it comes straight down where it's supposed to. Just like a midfielder. It just hits down. It's like a continuous movement straight onto his feet, and away he goes. Brilliant stuff, absolutely brilliant stuff. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And all the other players, they played their part, some of them better than others. The big German centre forward, I can't remember, Nadir, and I liked him.
Nadir, we might have a wee tune for you, Bridge, just for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. Yep.
Bit of a
No,
wee tune.
really happy. And you know, I've been very critical of Tavernier in the last month or so, really. And you know, I didn't know what to think at the end of that game. He comes out and scores a hat trick, for God's sake, you know. And he was very good. I thought in the announcement he was man of the match.
Some people did, mate. He
Aye,
wasn't the best man in the park for me, but obviously you're involved in goals and assists.
aye.
You're always going to get a bit of that, you know. I thought it was better performances. Ewan, what
But
was your take on it?
he gave it to the Nadia, I think.
Aye. Well,
Okay.
Ewan, what was your take on yesterday? Good day for us all.
Yeah, I thought it was excellent. Like I was saying in the group chat, I think at halftime with my friends, you know, like obviously we want 10, right? And then I started to revise it, I think, when we got 6, and I thought, well, you know, push that, let's get 12, right? But I can't be disappointed. 8 goals is brilliant. The new signings, they all look like they've been playing for months, as far as I'm concerned. Like, and I totally agree with what you were saying about Romans there, right? He's just a bit of a class act. There was a bit in the first half, I think the commentators picked up on it, because I was unfortunately watching it from home this time, but the point where he was coming down the line up to the right up towards the goal, and he kind of slowed down, like waiting for Naderi to actually make a move. He almost forced him to, you know, whereas normally I think we see our fullbacks and our wingers just hitting it in. We've seen that for years, right? And it just bounces off the first man. And you know, he didn't quite score, but he could have. But it was making, you know, almost forcing other players to make good decisions as well as his own. So yeah, like I thought it was excellent. I thought Chukwueze had a really good game. Kind of seen bits of him, you know, obviously in the other games, but I thought he really kind of dominated that as well. I think he's going to be a right asset too. So
Yeah, I tell you what, they have done South Side. They've added physicality again to the team.
Aye, definitely. Derry looks good. He's got good movement. He's willing to go and run and chase, and he's not scared to work for the team. And it was good for him to get on the score sheet. Could have had a hat trick at one point. It's unlucky. And obviously Chubani looks decent, like Ewan was saying. He's got the physicality. He's composed on the ball. And aye, it's good for the two. And obviously Romans was bombing up and down the left. So the three of them look decent. I know it's lower league opposition, but listen, they've got to give them minutes and let's see what they're about and get them introduced to the team. Wednesday will be a different story, but I don't expect apart from a lower score, I expect the same outcome. A Rangers win, mate.
Why not, mate? Why not? Well, I mean, we should be feeling positive. So listen, it started well, and goals change games, and we got the goal quite quickly. Bridge, we got the opening goal within 8 minutes, and Big Naderi got it. Yeah, you know, a header for a corner comes in. He comes in at the back post and puts it home, mate. Wasn't it? I think it might have took a deflection off the defender. I didn't watch it back last night just to make sure, but listen, good for him to get off the mark. He had a cameo on Wednesday night, and then he scores in his full debut, mate. So good for him. Yeah.
Well, he made the ball flush, well, his feet on the ground. There was no jumping involved, and he made the ball flush, and he got everyone right behind it in the bit of head, and it was going like a bomb when it you know was going in. Just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that ball, the ball was high, but he managed to sneak in at the back there, and nobody was there. He was on his own. Just wait for the ball coming down and leather in with the head, and that's what you call good scoring. Really good score. Really good goal. Very happy for him and the team, of course. Very happy for him and the team.
So then it turned into the Tavernier show, you know, 3 goals quite rapid.
Yeah, it did. And look, it was a wee bit like watching him a couple of years back, right? And it's actually, for me, I was also saying to some of my friends as well, like it feels like, you know, when he's got the right team around him as well, you know, like he can always step up a little bit more as well. So it's not all on him. You know, when we've often over relied on him, probably excessively over the years. But for me, like, you know, he's a class act, and he knows where the goal is as well. So, and he was popping up into those particular positions quite a lot. So, like, for me, it was good for him. I feel like he deserved those goals as well. I would agree he's probably not man of the match for me in any terms, but it did, with the obviously contribution of those three, then you can see why they would give it to him. But like he played fine, and like it gives us a lot of options if he stays on form for us. We've got a number of positions now, and I feel like we've got like an extra player in every position, which I think going back before January we just absolutely didn't have. So being able to rotate, giving Tav break when he needs it, so you've got Sterling and you've got Aarons to come in there if needed as well. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, he gets the first goal when he finishes well, Southside. The second one, are you giving him that one, mate?
Second goal. I think they gave it to the goalie, didn't they?
No, they gave it to Tav, but are you giving him it?
Nah, not really. Nah, it came off the goalie. Might have been in if the goalie jumped and didn't go at it, but he tried to punch it, didn't he? And wasn't very good at it. The boy Ferry. Listen, it's another goal for a set piece, I suppose you could say, wasn't it? But listen, it's as you were saying about the first goal. Tav jumped high. I mean, Tav's good in there. I'm always used to say, let somebody else take a corner kick and put him in the box, because he can certainly leap. And he finished it well, the first goal. And obviously his delivery for the second goal, you've got to get down the goalkeeping error, don't you, really? Let's be honest.
If you're honest, it just shows you what the football gods do, eh? What a difference a year makes. Anyway, so we get to the third quite rapid, and then Tav again for the penalty spot. No doubt a penalty spot dispatches as well, and I'll say the football gods are into play again, Bridger.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I just say about Tav? I thought, I did think that he was due to go. The ball was definitely going in. I think it just the keeper got his hands on it, but obviously couldn't do anything about it. But I don't think he put it into his own net by in any means. I think that ball was going in. So I would give it to Tav. Not trying to be controversial or anything like that.
Generous man, Bridger. I
think I am. Still centre half comes out in me,
Aye. So he gets a hat trick in the first half. Pretty unusual when you think about it. In any game, so many hat tricks scored in the first half.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And like just in terms of like giving him the goal or not, it's kind of difficult to tell. Like I always see, like I think they always look at it whether it's on target or not. And there was a couple of angles that looked like it was. Others maybe didn't quite as conclusive, maybe possibly slightly wide. But yeah, I think it was his goal, and I think there was a goal in the English League that was very similar to that. This week actually, that again they gave it to the attacker because it's a ball on target. So fair play to him. I'd give it. I don't think the keeper wants it anyway. So I think that's the right thing. So yeah, absolutely. But look, they obviously scored a bunch of goals early on. They really kind of put the game to bed, and we could sort of not necessarily relax. I think we were probably relaxed throughout the game. But we were just a question of how many at that point.
I agree, mate. But the thing was that impressed me yesterday. No, you take the level of opposition. You've got to keep that in your mind. But it was so deliberate. We were trying to play at a tempo. We've seen us before against lower league opposition, and we're just, would it be fair, Southside? Sometimes we're going through the motions.
Certainly seen that happen a few times, and we've all seen it. But I know you're right. It kept the tempo up, and obviously bringing on subs and bringing them on and changing the team a wee bit, because they're trying to push on to get into the team as well. So, there's one or two who came on the park who have been part of the first team in the last wee while, although one or two have been injured. But apart from all the subs that come on, apart from Matondo, who's probably miles out the picture, players like Brizrami, Asgard, that are trying to keep themselves in the team. Brizrami try to get back in the team. So for they two, anyway, especially, it was good to see them go in the park and get some more minutes.
Aye. We get a fifth before half time, Bridgman. Yeah, and so as you said earlier on, you're wondering what the score's going to be. But after half time, we get another man. Arguably the pick of our goals, but it's good play by Ant-Man, who set it up for Big Naderi, who came in and what we're looking for him, a centre forwards goal, Bridge, all day long, yeah?
Yeah, brilliantly taken. Once again, the guy, it was a possible physical challenge when he came in, and he was fearless straight through it. And I must admit, it was a lovely wee chip by Ant-Man, straight right to the back post. You know, that's what the centre forwards look like, and centre halves, of course, because they're good at scoring goals too. But no, that was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, what can you say? Can I just say, overall, the first half, we came out of traps and we started playing football immediately. And once we get used to the wet surface and so on and so forth, we were excellent. And a great tempo, all the pace and everything up there. And all the players could keep up with the ball, or were trying to keep up with the ball. We weren't defending. We're goal for God knows how long, you know. And that's been happening to us quite a lot. Maybe we improved in the second half of other games, but I thought the second half in that game, I thought we were there. Shall we say, when the substitutions took place, I thought you could see the drop in quality of player. The ones that came on weren't quite as good as the ones that came on half. My opinion.
You get that quite a lot when subs come on, mate, especially when the game's put to bed. But to be fair, Queen's Park, they did have a ball in the net. And but he was only 10 yards offside, I think.
But by the way, that was big DJ losing the ball.
I gave the ball.
30 yards inside their half. Wow.
How many times have I told you? Don't get your centre halves if you want to play football.
Oi!
So, but we get to goal, the sixth goal, and you're thinking, what is this going to end up? Yeah. But it just turned into a real training match, yeah.
It did, but I think that's probably right. In the second half, it was, making sure like you don't do anything silly, that you also get a wee bit of a dry up sometimes when people are just making sure they don't get injured. You're taking players off just to rest them. Obviously, we've got the big game on Wednesday night, right? So I think there was probably an element to that. But look, I thought just it was a complete performance, professional performance over the whole 90. Even if we didn't continue quite that rate of goals. For me, they all look hungry. That's the one thing for me. They all look like they desperately want to keep their spot in the team. I think there's probably the contributions for some of the guys that came off the bench could have been a little bit more, maybe, but like that's splitting hairs for me. I think they're a team that's playing a style now, which I don't think he was able to play before. Getting those new signings in January, you can see the sort of shape of team that he wants to play, and the type of football we're playing is night and day between what we were playing, prior to that. We didn't even know if we were going to score a goal in some games, So
I couldn't agree more, mate. So we get to it's good for Miovski to score Southside, and then big Tucci it was up there, maybe on a par with Derry's second goal, mate, because of the move. It was a nice move through the middle of the defence. All Bears 1-2s, mate. That was popular as ever, Green, mate. And then if you shoot, you can score it.
I think Miovski's more come off his shoulder, I think, than his head. But it went in. It was good for him to go on the score sheet. You want your strikers to keep scoring goals, and it was good for him to get on the score sheet. And it was a nice move between Chufwani and Asgard. So a nice couple of things. A wee sort of nice play before it, but they two playing the 1-2, and the big man stuck it away. And it was good for his confidence as well to get up the park and get scoring, because that's the thing that we've been lacking for a while, is midfielders chucking in with a lot of goals, and he ended up probably gave him the two. I think it was an own goal and all the one. I think big Giga sort of got a flick on. But they were giving him the goal, Chutwani. But listen, it was a good eighth goal. It was a nice 1-2 with A2. It was good to see him get on the score sheet.
Aye, perfect day. As I said at the start, minutes, people getting rested, people not getting on the park. Everything's went well. It means nothing. We've just got to go and win the next nice draw in the next round, June. Southside, decent draw. Once again, we'd finished.
Yep, aye. Looking forward to that. Twice in 2 weeks. Can't beat it. 2 doings. End of season, March on. Aye, it's a week. Aye, twice in a week. Aye. But I don't like the back-to-back games, to be honest, against anybody. I don't really like them, but the draw's the draw, and we'll have to play them twice. So we just got on with it. It'll be interesting to see what Rangers put the price in it, actually. Considering the last two games have been no bad priced at £20 a ticket.
It'll be £20.
No, I know, but it shouldn't be anywhere up at the 50 mark either, to be perfectly honest. But we'll see what the price at when the tickets come out.
It'll be the similar price to UEFA Cup tie. There you go, Europa League game.
I would say so, yeah. I would say that.
I would go with 35. I think if you priced it about 35, it would probably be all right. But I'm not really so keen in the going up to about 50 quid or something, you know. I think.
Oh, don't worry, I'll give you another 15, mate.
I know you will. I know.
You know, but aye,
Good.
listen, I get what you're saying, Southside, but I think it'll be neither Europa League prices. You know, Ewan, what did you make of the draw after the dust had settled?
It's good. You know, like obviously that's what I wanted. I really wanted to take them on. I think I'd rather, while we're playing the way we are, you know, get them in early, and then obviously being at Ibrox as well. So I'm delighted with it. No guarantees we win, but look, at the end of the day, you know, I'm confident in our ability. So I'm pretty pleased. The only thing I was disappointed in, I'd booked a holiday, and I looked at that week, and I thought, oh, there's no game that weekend. Thinking maybe that's an international or something like that.
Schoolboy
that
error.
was my schoolboy error. So I'm just trying to figure out if it gets to Saturday, I'm fine. Sunday, I might have arrived in France by the time I'm able to watch it. So we'll just need to see. So fingers crossed.
Just remember, you can get a new partner, but Rangers are for life, mate. You know.
I know. That's it exactly. Well, it's me and my brother actually, so there you go. It's me, a lad's thing. So. And he's a Celtic fan, right? So don't ask me how that happened, right? But look, I was in France with him last year over the New Year, and I got it was Clermont's 3-0 game that I think we won. So I've thoroughly enjoyed that one, but I don't. That's always good.
So I said I have to check this out, but it's not something that happens that often. Us playing them, you know, early in the cup, and I can only remember one at Ibrox, mate, in the Scottish Cup, yeah.
Is that when they had the Govan Stone, didn't they?
No, that was the League Cup, mate. That was
the League Cup?
Final.
Was it?
That was a couple of times, mate. That's happened. But the Scottish Cup, when the young boy scored the goal, what was his name, mate? 2 weeks, Jamie Ness.
Jamie Ness, aye.
He scored a screamer. But before that, I'm really struggling when we played them at Ibrox in the actual Scottish Cup.
Aye, Ibrox, aye. No, it's been a while, I think. Ibrox, I think. I know we've played them a couple of times in the cup, even in quarter final up there. Up there in the East End. I know we've played them up there in a couple of times, maybe back in the day, quarter finals or whatever. But it's been a long time probably since the Ibrox Ox, to be honest. But listen, we've got home advantage. We need to make sure that we cement it. The league, the game before it is more important, to be honest. I've always said on here, cups are bonuses. But the league game's the most important one for me coming up. Ibrox first and foremost. So listen, there are games to look forward to, innit? And Ibrox will be rocking, I'm sure. So when they come along, we'll be looking forward to it.
Did you feel, before we move on and we start talking, just to put the game to bed, did you feel there was a wee bit more positivity about the place on Sunday?
I suppose. Well, obviously, when you score early and you know, it changes the mood of the support. I was critical a week before because I think just booing a Rangers team off the park when you're 1-0 up, no matter what. I've never got that mentality that you just boo a Rangers player or you boo the team. But like we said, we discussed it a week before. But for the support that was there, and obviously when you're scoring early and then you're going off the park at half time 5-0, and it certainly lightens the mood, doesn't
it? Yeah. Bridgeman, same question to you, and you can have a bit of time to think. Danny Rowe, what's he done for us?
He's lifted and changed the team. He's lifted the club up. And I'm hopeful that the improvements, whatever he's doing, the people he's brought in, highly recommended for him. It's a pat in the back. But let's hope that the whatever lift the team and the club's been getting, it continues. Well, we need it to continue, don't we? And after that performance, I have to say that team that we started with looked really good, and some of these guys, Chitwani and the left back, I can't remember his name now. God almighty, the left back, Romans. He looks absolutely brilliant, really truly brilliant, and I think we've found the left back, and hopefully he's going to play every week, and let's see what we can make it. We need to get a right back now. That's all. But that'll be the summertime. Unless, of course, they do that magic thing and take Romans and put him out in the right back position, you know. But I don't think that'll happen. But really and truly, that's what he's done. He's got the hopefully he's got the Rangers support back, believing a wee bit now. There wasn't I don't know if there was anybody booing, you know. I never heard anything like that, but you never know. But I doubt it. That was a tremendous performance by the team and the club, and well done.
Yes. Same question to you and Danny.
I will.
What's he done for us?
Well, look at the way I kind of look at a manager when they come in is like you kind of go around the squad and has he improved any players, right? And to be honest, like you almost have to look at every player. Like, is there one player that actually hasn't improved to some degree under him? And most of them, you would say, yeah. Like, whether it's even Tello Asgard is hit or miss, but he started scoring goals. You got more out of Trinity, and Miovski's starting to get a bit of form back. Like I think across the pitch, it's just a lot better. The two centre halves are better than they were. So yeah, look, I think he's done that. I just was also mentioned, look, he's lifted the club and the support. He engaged with the support straight away, even in that defeat away in Europe. Like it was great to sort of see him coming across and saying, look, give me time, I'm going to try and fix this. And that instant bond that we absolutely didn't have with the last manager, unfortunately. So yeah, look, I think he's been the right man for the right job. And look, fair play to him. Like if you look at where we were before, how many points behind, and to the position we're in to effectively win our next two games and go top. That's just it's incredible. So long may it continue.
Yeah. You're right, mate. If somebody would have said we'd have been where we are by February and October, you said lots on here. You thought they were nuts. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right, we're going to change the subject slowly and talk to you about Club 1872. We don't want to go back to our old ground because what's gone's gone. Would that be fair?
I think that's kind of the point in a lot of what we've been putting out there. Like it's just about moving forward. I think across the board, if you look at the club, the way it's engaging the new ownership, that's it's a big change there in general, right? That we're all getting used to. We had our bumps in the road at the start of the season, but we can see what they're trying to do now, which I think is great. And ultimately, look, with a different ownership, you get a new model. So from that perspective, I don't expect to see the same level of like share investments that we used to have. So that was kind of Club 1872, Rangers first bread and butter in the past, right? When we had a fight to fight. And so, getting lots of new members on and, building up our shareholding was certainly something that that everyone was kind of bought into to an extent. But now we have a slightly different ownership model. I don't think you're going to see a lot of shares. We are basically being invited to the next round of funding, but I don't see that as being like a kind of long-term strategy from the club. So that's why we're kind of looking at how do we continue to make sure that fans' money gets invested properly in developing the club, building things for the future of Rangers fans to see. So you'll have heard a lot of interesting stuff around Ibrox regeneration. There's a whole working group set up. I actually got the pleasure of meeting the team that are supporting building some of those proposals. And what we're really trying to do is say, look, if we can build, any investment funds through our projects kick that we have, we would love to be able to make sure we use them for not just side projects, right? Small little bits here and there, but how big can we dream with that stuff? And for me, like, we know that Ibrox is an amazing stadium. The main stand itself, just stands alone, across the United Kingdom. For us, there are work that need to be done to improve that and make sure it's up, it's there for the next 150 years. And then obviously, if we want to think about, stadium expansions, hospitality, all of that kind of match day experience, like if we're able to provide, tangible benefits to supporters, if they join us and they do invest their hard-earned money into that, then obviously that can go directly to the club. And that's the relationship that I've really wanted to build, versus sort of going around buying, other shareholdings and but not really having that money go direct to the club itself. So for me, that was the big kind of change in direction. I think it's come across pretty positively. Like we've got we just announced and approved maybe 10, 12 odd projects, things like, improving the ironworks above the main stand, doing some surveying on the main stand itself, the brickwork, so we can figure out what our next set of project opportunities are, getting lighting around some of the statues that we have, and some re-waxing of those, the Walter statue, the Ibrox Disasters Memorial statue as well. But I don't want it to end there. It's not a one and done for me. It's how do we get the next set of projects, and that's the one thing I think about this. It's really great. I've already had a number of folks reaching out to us saying, here, in the place where I sit in Ibrox, I spotted we have these types of things that could just be improved a lot better. We could do more with, storytelling around the different aspects of our Rangers history. Obviously, in terms of just the footprint of Ibrox, landscaping, redevelopment works there. There was talk in the past with the club, which has been put on hold, I'll just add, but of Walter's Way, which was taking the Copeland and landscaping that out in a sort of honour to our Rangers history. I expect something similar will be done, but obviously with the regeneration survey they're doing that as a holistic thing, so that if there's elements of that we can fund and go do, I think everyone will buy into that. So for us, it's kind of explaining that new strategy, but then also rebranding. So you'll probably see over the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, we start looking at name change for Club 1872 to align more with that. Right. There'll be some new websites, or an update to the website that will take us in that direction as well. But also, make it easy for people to understand where their money's going. And as we build and deliver some of those projects with the club, there's real tangible things that people can see where their money's going as well. So, so that long and short of it is, the big change. We also announced, I think when you guys reached out, it was on the back of it, but we have an election coming up. And that's about, having five directors, myself included, but there are other 4 places are up for grabs. So, we're keen for people with like-minded thought processes and that to kind of step forward and, bring new ideas and, a sort of momentum with that as well. But also, I think the good thing is that for any directors potentially considering that, or any people potentially considering applying, knowing that we have that kind of strategy, but also some of the development work to sort of modernise Club 1872 going forward as well. So so a lot of that will be, ready to go for them, as they come into the organisation. So it's exciting times. Look, there's a lot of history there. I know you said you don't want to get into it. I think the main piece for me is, look, if you have a model like this, you don't have to have all the politics involved. We've got the fans advisory board. We just channel any kind of feedback from members and contributors into that. And then the rest of it, we can focus on those positive things that don't really tie to where the club is on a off the pitch or on the pitch perspective, which I think creates the biggest challenge for us, where you're trying to, obviously persuade people this is a really good thing to invest in. You want to then have a good conversation with the club about those investments. But if we've been spending time, hammering them with a statement because of, X, Y, or Z has gone wrong, then you end up in a very difficult kind of give and take type environment. And for that, I think that just getting away from all that is super important. So we hope our members will see that, and also, you know, prospective directors coming into that, knowing that that part is parked and we're moving on from that. So.
So obviously there would have to be a change in relationship with the club. So who'll be the driver in the projects? Will it be the club or Club 1872 going forward? Rebranded, that will come up with the projects, or do it jointly?
So that's a great question, right? So the club, so we ring fence 220,000 that's going to go across to the club pretty soon. So we'll probably do an announcement once that transition's made. Now that's 220,000 for around about, I think it's about 160, 170,000 of projects. So we've given ourselves some buffer in there in case some of those projects go over budget.
Overspend that.
Exactly. And then on that, like we've actually asked the club if they can make sure that they're project managing some of this stuff for us, right? So from my perspective, I've been in previous meetings with the club around projects, and they were kind of small scale, but almost the responsibility for project managing that or designing it was almost put to Club 1872, and that didn't work, right? Like volunteers, they don't have time to be, figuring out transport routes across Ibrox or whatever that, specific project requires.
It's a full-time job.
Exactly. So go, tell us what you think you want to spend money on that's maybe on your CapEx budget. You want to do it. We know it needs done. But at the same time, they come to us and say, look, here's the 10, 20 projects that you have, or we have, that we think are applicable. And we'll actually sit down as a board and then review that with them and say, look, well, these ones are not really community interest type projects. So there might be ones that we don't think are necessarily going to be of tangible benefit for our supporters, etc. So we do have a say in what those are. It's not just, here, go pay for that and send us money. It's a two-way conversation. And at the same time, we're absolutely part of the conversation in terms of maybe bringing some of those new ideas in. So, we're able to put on the table, like we've had certain feedback from our members, etc., that really drive that we think is going to drive some really good engagement. Is that a possibility? Can we do those as well? And then, so yeah, I think it's a good two-way street. Just in terms of the process, I suppose, that's worth pointing out. So we are part of a heritage group, working group with the club. So that's us and a number of other different parts of the Rangers community. So ideas come across through that. And then also, as I mentioned, we're part of the Ibrox Regeneration programme itself. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of really interesting, cool stuff that comes out of that one as well. And it's for us to make sure that we help the club, I suppose, find those right ideas that we can absolutely put across as a community interest company to members to vote on. So those things are definitely within a decision point. So I think the one thing is we want to vote on them, and we want contributors to be bought into that. So if it's not the right thing, they'll vote against it. And so part of that is, making sure that it's, nice and clear for them, right from the get-go, that we can just get that out and, make a quick vote around these things and turn them around quickly.
How's your voting process going to work, mate?
So if you're a contributor, right, so if you're signed up today, then you have a vote. Now, I don't know if you know about the inner structures of Club 1872. There's actually two community interest companies. The reason we have that is because we merged the trust and the Rangers Supporters Trust, and Rangers First. But what we have is then two investment funds. One's for shares only and one's for projects. And so anyone that's contributing to the projects pot, that is all that money will go to those projects. If it's shares, then it's going to shares only. And you get to choose. So when you're signed up, you can choose to just have both, right? So you can sort of divide your contribution 50-50, or you can choose one or the other. So it gives members choice. Now, if the members are projects only or both, then obviously they get a vote in the projects pot. If they don't,
Right.
if they're shares only, they wouldn't necessarily get a vote in that pot. We actually have to make sure that part is very, very clean to keep us, above the line in terms of who's voting. So that's a important exercise. But yeah, look, it's just it's about making sure that we have the right projects and that they're in the right position for people to vote and they know exactly what they're getting
Because
as
it's
an end
members'
result.
money you're spending, and you've got to be. It's got to be. You've got to be clean and show a process. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's just messaged me. If Club 1872 come up with a project, could they present that to the club?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've already I met, actually, I was saying that when we did some of our recent communications, a number of people came out to me and they weren't necessarily even contributors, right? They were just people that really found what we were trying to do is very interesting. So they actually brought some ideas to the tables, which I've already passed over to the club. As we get into those working groups, we'll bring them up and suggest them. The only thing is, like, obviously, you can't make everyone happy all the time. The club might say, do you know what, we can do this, but we can't do it for a period of time, or actually we might need to wait till the regeneration sort of the proposal that comes back from the group that's pulling that together, and then say, well, because the last thing you want to do is go and spend a bunch of money building something that gets torn down because we're building a new stand or whatever, right? So so that stuff is, making sure you future proof those things is going to be important, but they absolutely can, and obviously they can contact us through info@Club 1872 if there's those ideas. And even through X or Facebook as well, if we pick up on those as well.
So for people that's listening and want to get involved, tell them how they can do it, mate.
I'm going to be really odd in my answer to that one and say you absolutely can, but I'm actually not going out and actively pursuing new members or contributors just now. Part of that's to do with the rebrand. So I wanted to make sure everyone totally understands the strategy behind what we're trying to do. But also, if we have a rebrand and the website gets updated and things like that, then that will be a much clearer path, because we want to, like, if you look at Club 1872's website just now, there's a lot of work needs done on it in terms of it being, up to date with that new potential name, but also the sign up process. We want to look at that and make that super easy. Potentially bringing in things like, an Apple payment or Google payment style process to that'll make things a lot easier. In the past, we've had, issues with card expirations and things like that just naturally drift off. So you want to make sure that's really future proof. So we are making money just now. Like, the money we've just put in is built up over the last couple of years. But for me, I'd rather make sure that when we do a formal launch on that, then we'll do some communications there. You can absolutely go and sign up. You can't do it right now because we're in the middle of the elections, because that's part of the kind of the sort of protection of the process.
Constitution,
yeah. But when once that's done, then you can certainly go and look at it afterwards. I'd prefer, obviously, to make sure we do it and make it as easy as possible so that they can see the new brand, they can see the new strategy, and the sign up process is really easy for them. So yeah. But a great question.
Once the projects start getting done in 1872, people are seeing that it's working and the project's a success. It could be a snowball, mate.
Yeah. So I think, and I was speaking to Chris Jack on another interview as well, right? And also Forlas, and I was saying, like, look, we probably don't get like your massive, rush of, thousands of members overnight, like we did when, there's, an AGM, and we're trying to buy as many shares as possible, right? But it's kind of, that's exactly the point of the projects, is to have that kind of rolling roadmap of things that are happening. Some will happen at the end of the season because health and safety and, club footprint, if you're going to build anything, or you obviously need to make sure that the match day is not unaffected by that type of stuff. Others will be stuff that you can do in a sort of 40-hour period or during the week between games. But the key for me was actually having a mix of those types of projects so that you can kind of almost have a constant sort of feed of those types of things coming through. that people can tangibly see. You know, like if we're going to restore something, you get great before and after coverage. On top of that, like, as we're going to do some of the heritage historical elements, like the mosaics, for example, is a really good one, on the either side of the main stand, updating and improving that, and preserving the history behind it. But there's some great stories to tell about, you know, some of the original insignias that we had, and you know, if you think about the Ready or the Ibrox or Ready, there's always been a kind of question which came first, and then you've got 1872 and 1873. There's some of those stories are actually behind those mosaics as well, in terms of the, you know, finding the originals, and because there was some, I think there was some rework on those in the 80s, so that sort of kind of got lost a little bit in the history of time. So being able to tell some of that about it and why we're preserving it should be really good. And then once you're able to go to the games, if you're a contributor, and pointing out, you know, if your investment has gone into something that's physically there, you know, whether it's plaques or, you know, logos to attach to that, you can absolutely point those out, and hopefully that generates more people to come on and get involved because they see the positivity behind it.
So is the idea then, if the fans support the projects, it leaves more money to support the team through the money's not getting used up through projects? Is that
Spot
the
on.
theory?
Absolutely. Like, so have a think. If you think about it, right, we're also a community interest company, which means, like, you know, it's similar to a charity. So
Yeah.
around about 95 pence in the pound goes to, and we have 5% for admin budget, just to be clear on that. So 95% of the pound goes directly to the club. So if you think about, like, if there was a 100 grand project, right, it might cost the club almost double that to actually do it. And whereas our side of things, because it's the right thing for the Rangers community, then we could do it, you know, at a much lower cost. But then also in terms of, you know, obviously what we do want the best product on the pitch. This just allows the club to focus on those. But also, like, if you think about, we had the transfer window just closing, new manager, playing staff turnover, you know, management staff turnover. Suddenly there might have been a well-meaning plan to do some of those projects that we've talked about, but they have to get parked, right, for another season because, you know, these decisions are made. Whereas if we're ring fencing that money, then we can also choose to make sure that the things that are going to matter to Rangers supporters on match days and things like that do get done, versus being, like, you know, just removed because we have to deprioritise as well. But look, that just means that that's all, any money we give is, you know, more money they can spend on the first team and all of those types of things.
It's it's your classic chicken and egg, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. So, and I think it's an interesting point. I'm glad you raised it because we did get a little bit of, not a lot, right, but like a little bit of feedback around, well, why are we paying for that and not the club, right? And in some aspects, right, especially more the maintenance type stuff than maybe the heritage type projects. But like at the end of the day, that's what it allows the club to do, and to ensure its focus is in the right areas as well. So, so I think it's just win-win for everyone as far as I'm concerned.
So in theory, it's just another way of donating to the club, yeah?
Yeah, like if you think about that, you've got like the charity foundation. You've also got like the RYDC, and they're a little bit similar in nature, especially the RYDC. And they do some fab work. I think they literally handed over 300,000 to the youth system yesterday, I think it was. So that was great for them, and this is another way to do it. But if you're, you know, maybe that's your focus, right? You're really into the, you know, Ibrox history and legacy of, you know, past players, you know, past supporters, and all of those types of things. Then, that might be more your bag, I guess, right? Than maybe the youth team. It just depends on where you want to place that. And I don't think these things are necessarily it's one or the other, or it's really about, you know, if that's where your passion is, then I think the stronger the better in all of the circumstances, and also making sure that, you know, it's an affordable thing. You know, it's a you know, maybe £10 a month potentially is what we would go for in terms of the relaunch side of things. You know, it's not a lot, but when you start to get, you know, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, supporters into that, the amount of money you could build or you could generate, that's, you're starting to talk about major stadium redevelopment and things like that it can fund. So,
well, you think what the fans have done in the past through the pools.
That's exactly, yeah, that's the best example, right? In terms of how they supported the development of Ibrox in the past as well. So, and that was huge amounts of money used to come into that as well, which is to an extent some of the evolution of the RYDC and things like that as well. But and the lot of they now do. But all of those are great things. And if it's simple, I'd like to at some point talk with the club around, where do we get to, if you have those sort of various elements, making sure the club is kind of pushing some of that in the right way. Like, they need to be a little bit careful because, obviously it's a charity and then there's a shareholding and things like that. But if there's a way to position it properly with supporters, then we should have an absolute look at that as well. So whether that's, do you want to sign up to something like RYDC or Club 1872 or anything like that? Well, I think charity donations goes into it during the season ticket process as well. But as we're going through that might be something that we look at. Again, we just want to stay the right side of the appropriate ways to do those things as well with that partnership. But yeah.
What's your wish list, your personal wish list? If you could pick one project you'd like to see took on, maybe far-fetched at the moment, but what would your personal project be?
So I think for me, like, everyone talks about the stadium expansion, right? Making sure we can get as many Bears and Ibrox as possible. So whether that's filling in the corners or completing a more of a sort of rounded structure for the stadium as well, that capacity thing's a massive one for me. The other one that's kind of coming up that is probably a little bit less spoken about, in terms of an idea, but like, we know that we're going to expand our hospitality, and there's talk about things like hospitality plus or season ticket plus, where you might be able to, if you just choose on a match day that you'd like to go and enjoy a pint in halftime or whatever, having the facilities for something like that. I'd love to say, and this is literally just pipe dream stuff for me, but if Club 1872 were able to help support building like a function area for that in each stand, maybe contributors get in, right, at a sort of different price or maybe free, whatever it is. We just need to see. But like, those are the types of like match day experience things that I'd like to see Rangers looking at in the long term. So definitely those two.
Stadium expansion, I think the club will look at that, mate. I think it'll want to be risk and reward. They'll see what it would cost, the project, how big it is, and when you get your capital back. It'll be as simple as that for me.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that turnaround, the return on investment. But if we can offset that, make that easier. Look,
yeah.
And if you're saying, like, I mean, think about if, let's say, Club 1872 is making 500,000 every year, or maybe $1 million a year, right? Just dream big. But if we know that there's an offset in some of that, that the club aren't having to worry about, then that's a potential. You can maybe make that happen quicker as well. So yeah.
In dialogue with the club, would you say it's in a good place now?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I can't thank the different people I've spoken to over the last year or so. And look, we've always been in constant dialogue for the last 2 or 3 years to try and re-establish that relationship. It's been like super difficult, not because of any will problem on the club side, but just because of, if you think about, like, I've spoken to, losing count, 3 or 4 chairmen, and different owners as well, right? So every time we meet with someone, we within 6 months, over the last sort of 18 months, we were almost speaking to someone new. So that was just about making sure we really stuck to our guns, kept that conversation going, introducing and selling ourselves a little bit to each of those new folks. And look, the new owners absolutely have been, they were just totally bought into what we're trying to do, understanding that move away from like that kind of supporters pressure group type thing into more of a shareholding type relationship, as well as focusing on heritage donations and all of those types of things as well. So for me, like, they've always been spot on. We speak with the executive team on a regular basis. Greg Mailer from the club has helped coordinate a lot of that. I mentioned obviously we're in a number of different working groups as well, so that's really helped us. Be thought of every time a new topic comes up, and we've still got work to do probably, and just firming that relationship up, and that launch I think will really help it. But there's been no pushback from the club itself. It's been excellent.
Well, when this is all, when your rebranding's finished, you see the newly named club is 1872 more as a stakeholder in the club rather than try to get to a certain level of shareholding, which I always thought was going to be difficult, mate. It was always a hard task. But you'll be a stakeholder who'll be involved in projects and try to improve the club. Yeah, would that be fair?
Absolutely, that would be fair, right? And like the one thing that's probably not an elephant in the room, but we have a shareholding that's just under 5%, right? So
Yes.
like we'll have long-term conversations, and we are having conversations about that with the club at the moment. Is what that future holds there for that shareholding. We obviously want to make sure that we are protected in certain aspects. That if we do continue to generate revenue, because as I mentioned on the sign-up process, like by default, you put your money 50-50 into both of those things, like shares and projects. So if I'm building up a pool there that I can't necessarily use if there's no share investments, how do we do it? What do we do with that? And at some point we might look at a restructure of the kicks to make that move a bit more formal. But it'll all depend on the sort of long-term strategy with the club. But they know, like, look, we're open to a number of different ideas and on that piece. But yeah, certainly going forward, it's going to focus pretty heavily on the projects and the heritage side, but I do want to assure anyone that's investing in that share side of things that we're not forgetting about it, and nor do we not care about it. It absolutely has to be, where possible, going into the club to make a difference.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling there might be a share issue coming, but that's just me. But I think there's a lot of positive things going on at the club at the moment, mate. That are just bubbling. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, look, I don't like to talk about them much, right? But if you look up the road, or across the water, that what's happened over there, like the relationship between fans, ownership, and all that sort of stuff, it's on breaking point, really, right? And I think that's, if you look at the juxtaposition with the Rangers and its supporters, like it feels like they're really starting to build those connections in a way that we've probably not seen for a long time. And so for me, that I think we should just grab that, capitalise on it. That's only going to put us further and further ahead. And fingers crossed, there's a title at the end of this one that we can really stamp home afterwards. So
I hope so, mate, because that improves everything, doesn't it? When there's a success on the park is an upturn off the park, yeah.
Absolutely, it's hand in hand, isn't it? It just because if we're all unhappy in the stands,
I see what you done there. That was quite good.
Yeah, do you know I didn't do that deliberately, but there you go.
Yeah, listen, thanks for coming on. You're welcome to stay and join us. We'll have a tune shortly, and then we'll open the phone lines. If you're welcome to stay with us, Ewan, for the rest of the show. You know that, yeah?
Aye, that's perfect. I'll hang about.
You can get anything when we open the phone lines, mate, because we're totally live. But listen, the lads want to come in just before we go to the tune, Southside.
No, it was great listening to you, and a lot of positive stuff happening about the club. It's good to see the regeneration work getting done, you. And probably after the tune, I'd maybe ask you about maybe something to do with the car parking round about Ibrox for supporters coming in and trying to get parked at Ibrox, because obviously the car park we've sold a bit to the housing mob who are doing a bit of building work on it, and that, which has had a big impact for a lot of supporters, and obviously probably the streets round about for disabled supporters, because I've seen a few guys coming out of the Albion car park and trying to get across to the stadium, and they say it's pretty bad, to be honest, for them to try and get into Ibrox. But I think car parking probably is something that probably frustrates a lot of supporters coming here. But the fact that you're doing the mosaics and stuff and the statues and that and stuff like that, it's certainly interesting for the supporters. It's good to listen and hear what you're saying.
Right.
Oh, definitely happy to talk about that part as well. Actually, I've got a few thoughts there as well, so we can talk after the break as well. So
we'll come right back to you. So if you don't mind, gentlemen, get yourself in mute, because we're going to have a tune.
Started down in Flesher's Hall. They didn't even have a bar. Those four lads, they gave us all the Rangers we all love. Ibrox home to you and me, our blue heaven, you will agree. 50,000 flock to see the Rangers we all love. The Saturday comes and the Bears will stroll along, shout and cheer and sing our songs. We don't care win, lose or draw, we're the greatest of them all. In this game they call football, it's Rangers we all love. Come on! Rangers fans, the whole world o'er, all the loyal to the core, and support forevermore the Rangers we all love. Oh. The Saturday comes and the Bears will stroll along, shout and cheer and sing our songs. We don't care win, lose or draw, we're the greatest of them all. In this game they call football, it's Rangers we all love. Rangers fans, the whole world o'er, all the loyal to the core, and support forevermore the Rangers we all love. Rangers fans, the whole world o'er, all the loyal to the core, and support forevermore the Rangers we all love.
While you are sitting listening on your own, why not take part and give us a phone? We would love to hear your points of view, so get off your bum and call 0141 356 1972.
Thanks for that, Mr. Fox. Aye, a wee bit of history there for some people. On you go, Southside. Floor's yours, mate.
No, I was just saying to you, have you got anything planned, or has the Reds Club looked at anything else for maybe helping supporters to try and get some better parking facilities and stuff when they come to Ibrox? And is that something that will be getting looked at in the future going forward?
So I think I'm sure it will be. I haven't seen it directly, to be totally truthful, right? It's definitely one that has been at the back of my mind, right? Which is like, look, everyone knows the parking situation, the travel to Ibrox situation is not ideal, with the Albion being partly sold off as well, right? I think there's a big opportunity there. We know that there's various lands around the club that we could potentially look at. The footprint, I'm sure, when they look at the stadium regeneration, we'll have something around parking. Something I'll definitely bring up, by the way, at our next meeting with the club as well. For me, it's, look, is there an opportunity? Like, parking is obviously expensive to develop in terms of the size of the footprint you would need to do something like that. But then also it can be an investment opportunity. Passive parking if you ever go abroad, and there's no attendance, staffing and things like that, and it's all automated. There could be a very interesting passive revenue generation for people that were signed up to, say, a season ticket like we used to have, I think, at the Albion. I'm not quite sure what the process is there nowadays for even the small amount of spaces that we have, but you used to be able to add that on to your match day as well. But for me, that's definitely something the club will need to look at, and obviously the general conversation more with the club and the councils around the area as well, for making sure the facilities are there. Because look, I think one of the things that I know some of the parking restrictions are also meant to drive behaviours in the right direction, right? But when it's at a premium, like people start making, taking liberties in where they can and can't park. So for that piece, it's important to ensure that like, the residents in the area, the council, and their the sort of general day-to-day life isn't overly affected on a match day, and at the same time ensuring that supporters have the appropriate environments and opportunities to park as close to the stadium as possible, but also get away from the stadium in a timely manner as well. So totally agree. I drive to the stadium myself, and it is torture. So yeah, for that piece I would definitely be bringing with the club.
It's a difficult one, because if you talked about expanding the stadium, then you've got more customers, and then that problem becomes bigger. Glasgow's transport lines used to be, if you go back maybe 3 or 4 generations, were top notch. But as the city's developed and there's more people on the road, it's maybe the links or transport lines we need to look up so that people can move away quicker for the stadium and get there easier.
Aye, no, absolutely right, and that's where you kind of obviously there's a little bit that's unfortunately out with the control of the club. Like they obviously need that kind of interest and energy, and then obviously budget. I've heard talk about the Ibrox system, the Ibrox train station, or potentially having things where there's supplements. If you think about Germany, and like if you go to match days, like you get your ticket on the train is covered and things like that, all that type of stuff. That like I think the club did do. I was part of previous community forums with the club, and I think there was some pricing done around that they looked at, and it was in the millions, right? So you still need that kind of buy-in from the government and things like that to do it. So so I think probably in some of those elements might be more longer term, but certainly like look the footprint, as you say, if it's going to be an expanded stadium at some point, it's more footfall, and then potentially less room if the stadium's bigger as well. So yeah.
Anyway, we've been joined with Smurf feeding and Smurf. How we doing, mate?
Evening, gents. Yeah, not been on for a long time, so I suppose Happy New Year, one and all.
Merry Christmas as well, Smurf.
I've been all right. I've been all bunged up and no well, and so I thought I'd phone in and contribute somehow.
All right, I thought you might have been phoning in with a question for us, but carry on. If you're
I have got a question for it.
Right,
is it Ewan? Is it
Ewan? Hi, Ewan.
Ewan.
That's right.
Aye, hi, Ewan. So my question's this: how does it? I think you alluded to it without actually stating. How's Club 1872? Is it going to have a name change?
Yes. So I'm not giving away industry secrets or anything like that, but it'll probably be along the lines of Rangers Fans Heritage Fund. But yeah, there will be a change in the name, which you'll see then in terms of branding. Tying it back to Ibrox and its history is where we'd like to go with it. We'll work that through with a branding company that we've got working for us. We know they'll do a fab job. They've worked with clubs like Dundee in the past, and a number of other Scottish companies as well. So I'm hoping to see certain early elements of those in the future, but certainly for me, it's going to be an important one, because we want to make sure that ties to what contributors are actually getting back from it as well.
And the other two, the Rangers Youth Development Company, and there's the Charity Foundation. Mm-hmm. Is there any plans for those three elements to come under the one umbrella?
So no, I wouldn't say so, but it's not something that would be out with the realms of conversation, right? Anyway, so like I was talking to four lads this morning. I was saying it's almost like you have three parts of it. So you have like the history or the past, right, which is the heritage side of things. Then you have like today and the community of and the charity foundation, and then you have the future, which is your youth development company. So like you're almost completing the circle of the life cycle in terms of Rangers supporters and the Rangers community. So I think they all go quite hand in hand. But
Yeah,
if you think about the
future,
say that again.
past, present, and future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, like I think that's a kind of great thing to maybe latch into. The three organisations, I know the Charity Foundation and the Youth Development Company, they actually have they have very close links over a longer time, but we've all kind of come from maybe divergent angles, right? In terms of the approach. So I think looking at how you don't want to kind of step in each other's toes right now, like if the three different companies or three different kind of initiatives, that you want to make sure that I don't want to take any money away or any contributions away from either of those two things, which are both fabulous in its own right, but we're just capturing the ones, the opportunity where people are maybe sort of more passionate in the heritage side of things. And so, yeah, look, possibly it's not a conversation that's kind of ongoing at the moment, but look, I think they're all beneficial in their own way.
Okay, last question. Okay, I've got for you. How are you going to protect your shareholding with future share issues, etc., etc.? Bearing in mind the club doesn't need the money anymore. It's off-life support. How are you going to protect your shareholding?
So just in terms of the shareholdings, we also put aside 220,000 for projects. We had roughly the same amount. It's actually a little bit up now since we agreed it with the club, but we have another 220,000 that's ready to go for shares. And the club have already committed to allow us to be part of any future share issue. So I do expect there will be further rounds of investment, whether that's 1, 2, 3, I don't know. But certainly for the next one, any money we have, we will put in, and we'll be invited to that part, which I think is great from the club's perspective. I think the longer term strategy side of things is going to be an interesting one, right? I haven't had any conversations with the owners specifically around their kind of longer term shareholding strategy or anything like that. But I do want to make sure that if there is a point where we get diluted, that we have a conversation around those to keep that there. I think it's important, for EGMs and AGMs and things like that, that we do look at the fact that we do get a vote there. And that's an important aspect. We vote on every, or used to be in every AGM. It's now a summer meeting, right? That they have for the club. But so I think there's value in that, absolutely. And if there's opportunities to push it, that might be an approach. But it would probably be down to whether the club decide that they really need long-term share investment. And so there's no perfect answer, and I can't guarantee we won't get diluted further. But certainly if there's a share issue, I'd expect the club to certainly invite us to that. So, and that's really then just up to us, how much money we have and how much money we generate through contributors. And the more we have, the less likely we get diluted. It's basically as simple as that.
I've got one more question. I've just thought of that.
Go for
When you go, Smart. When you go.
If I was going to contribute to shares in Rangers, I could do it through your vehicle and have representation at AGMs, etc., through your vehicle, right? Why would I do that? Why should a Rangers fan do that rather than buy his own shares and attend on his own anyway?
It's really a personal choice, to be honest. So for me, it's when you think about Club 1872 Rangers First beforehand, right? The idea was to make sure that we have a single block vote that can be put through, and especially when you think about like some of the EGMs that we had in the past and some of the darker days, right? It was really important to have that. And then we can do proxies, and we have done in the past where people can proxy their vote with us. But having that sort of single voting block is important because sometimes it's quite hard, as we all know, to get all Rangers fans to agree on things. So as long as people are happy to do it in a majority system, then that's fine. But look, I totally respect, like, a lot of people are want to have their own shareholding. They want to visit or go to the AGMs, maybe ask their own questions, and that's entirely up to them. I wouldn't persuade anyone one way or the other potentially on that, but certainly knowing that if you have an organisation that can build a cash flow, whereas it might not be as easy to buy a block of shares, but for a small amount a month, that may be more convenient for you to feel like you get your say as well. So. But it's a personal decision, preference on that side of things.
Okay, thanks very much, mate. Cheers, buddy.
No worries, thank you.
Good to hear from you, Smurf. Hope you're glad you're feeling better, mate.
Aye.
Penny.
No. I've been busy. I've been a busy boy, and my health's been up and down. But no, I'm plodding on.
I'm glad you're feeling better. Ewan, I've been setting another question. You talked about the match day experience and try to improve that. Would that go as some of the smaller projects? Would you ever get involved with the fans? Like, say, for instance, maybe sponsoring a tifo for, say, the Union Bears or for one of the stands, etc. To maybe, would that be some of the small projects that go on the radar?
Absolutely. Look, yeah, and it's been done before. So I think there was a vote. It was possibly when I wasn't on the board at that time, but they absolutely did put money towards the Union Bears, I think, for a specific project to help. And maybe not for a specific tifo, but maybe just to fund them generally to help do some of those displays. So it has been done before. So it's something we would absolutely consider again. And look, it's I think one of the things we did talk about with the club in the past, is safe standing. We've talked about the club in the past around. You remember that they now have it, but like having that kind of pulley system for tifos as well. That was something that we could have funded if that came up, but they had gone ahead with that anyway, which is great. And I think that those are fab when they use them properly as well. So like if there's aspects of those and then general on match days that really drive the experience, then yeah, it can count.
Brilliant, mate, brilliant. Southside, you want to come in again before I bring Bridge in? Bridge, I bet you Bridge has got an issue about the gents' toilets up in the Coatland.
I think where we sit, Ox, in the stadium, I think it probably needs a wee bit. I know it's the oldest part of the ground and all that, but I think there needs to be a wee bit of work done inside the stadium and round about to make it a bit better. You'll know what I'm talking about in the main stand. But
main stand, yeah.
Aye, it needs a wee bit of work still done to it, and some of it looks, as much as I hate to say it, some of it does look tatty at times, you know what I mean? It looks as if it's not been touched for a while. Probably for
hasn't been so.
Aye, but I mean, but even sometimes for a cleaning aspect, at times I've said a couple of times to the guy in there, I said, mate, I mean that needs to be attended to. We've come into the stadium 3-4 times, and it's still the same bit. It's still dirty. It's still messy. It needs cleaned for people are putting their hands on rails coming up the stairs and all that. And give him his due, went away and got it done instantly. Do you know what I mean? But just things that seem to get missed now and again. At the end of the day, we come into the stadium, want to look as best that we can. But no, I think Ewan's covered a lot of stuff. It's been interesting listening to me tonight, and it's probably good that maybe Club 1872 are rebranding, and they've got that bit for the heritage side and stuff around about the stadium. They're putting money in, which might encourage other supporters to maybe join and put money in that side if they don't want to get down the share side. Where they know that they'll see the difference, you'll see the work getting done, it'll be done. What about approaching? I mean, I know there's a lot of boys out there in the past, right, that have got businesses that they're Rangers minded and they've been willing to come in and do work round about the stadium, but it wasn't took forward in the past by a certain gentleman that was there who's now left. He didn't sort of take them on when they were offering to do some work round about the stadium. Is that something that you'd be looking at as well? Is there maybe people out there that know and companies that will come forward and help out?
there's 2 points I'm going to touch on for you. So I'll take your last part first, right? Which is we actually had some interesting companies reach out when we talked about the heritage launches and the projects as well, that offered some support, and we passed that on to the club, right? It's kind of the club's decision, but just making sure, so for example, this particular one was around the facade of Ibrox on the main stand, the outside part. So companies that actually have had experience, regenerating many historical buildings across the country and things like that, in Edinburgh, etc., where else. So and that's something that I think would be really interesting to look forward. I can't make the decision on behalf of the club, but I think making sure that we if people do reach out to us, that we bring those in for discussions. So yeah, I would definitely say that if there is a Rangers businesses out there that want to get in touch, and then let us know. But there'll obviously be certain channels that we'll channel them into from those side of things. And the other piece you mentioned around the concourses. So actually on the list, I said we reviewed about 20 odd projects. The concourses were certainly part of that. And some of them we'd probably put that to sort of not one side, but for a future budget, because obviously we want to do it kind of well. If you think about it, firstly, you could do tidy up and general maintenance, or you could, really kind of have a sort of history and culture and heritage stories being told around the stadium in the right areas, whether it's the Sandy Jardine stand has something related to his time at the club. So for me, that's something that I'd like to make sure that we're doing. Maybe that's part of probably the Ibrox regeneration. Do you make sure that, again, you don't do a whole bunch of work and then you have to rip it all back just to start again? So I think that was part of the decision where we said, look, yes, really important ones to do, but maybe we bring that, as we start to see some of the proposals coming through from the company looking at the Ibrox proposal plans as well.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. It'll be interesting. I think the problem Southside the sea with corporate governance and that, you've got conflicts of interest, and then you've got to watch what you do with cash. You've got to be able to demonstrate you do things properly, because you're answerable to shareholders, mate. For us that live in the real world, if somebody wants to fix your Mondays and there's a glazier and they'll do you a favour, it's ideal. But if it's not done right and then something happens, it's just
exactly.
It's different, mate. It's different than
channels, but it's opening opportunity. If people are just sort of realizing that some of the work's getting done, then they absolutely should be putting their ideas to the club if they can. But obviously, I think, and the club has got to do its due diligence and some of these things as well. So when we talk about the budget, 170,000 to 220, part of that is there because we might get 3 or 4 quotes for individual things, and so if there's something that falls into the wheelhouse of those types of companies, then I'm sure they'll be considered. So,
Bridgeman, come on in, come in.
Stadium? Are you talking about stadium improvements?
Yes, I know what you're going to say, mate.
Well, the Copeland, the gents' toilets are all the toilets, in the Copeland was pretty poor. The Copeland rear. Obviously, I know he's going to fix them, but I just didn't know when it would be fixed. Any ideas?
Again, I think I don't have any ideas of when, right? I think that's definitely something that the club are totally aware of, right? It's like every meeting I've been in, from a heritage perspective or from, the Ibrox regeneration, that's something that comes up. And they definitely need to do something about that. I think it's doing it right. And it's whether, you could spend £70,000 to fix all of them, right? Or you could, but then again, if we do a Ibrox regeneration that is a larger, overall stadium piece, you want to make sure that's not £70,000 kind of, I guess, burned really, because you're just tearing it back down again, to build something different, or put them somewhere else or whatever it is that would fit that construct. So for me, I think it's something they're totally aware of. I don't think they can really sit on it and not do too much with it over the next couple of years, like, because we know what they are like and as an experience, right? And I think they could do with improvements pretty urgently. But again, it'll be for the club to decide on some of that. But look, if we have any part to play in it, we can, then absolutely we'll do that.
Do you guys get your shares through the Tifosi scheme?
No, that was a
No.
separate thing done by the club previously. So I'm not even 100% sure if you can still join that. But it's a separate one. So ours is Club
Well,
1870.
they're holding the shares for the shareholders.
That's right. Yeah.
The ordinary. Well, I'm saying ordinary. the small guy with the shareholders, you know.
Yeah.
So are they still going there? No problem.
I mean, they still have their shareholding, absolutely. I just haven't looked into whether they're actually, you could even still go in to do that as an investment thing, or if that's a one-off. So I haven't heard much about it, honestly, for a good year. It gets mentioned the odd times, but it doesn't seem to be something the club are actively pursuing. And I would be very sort of surprised, and I'm not speaking for the club here, but I'd be very surprised if that's something that you'd see utilised by the new owners necessarily going forward. Like, I'm not saying the shareholding won't be there, but just encouraging more people to go into that. I think that's probably unlikely.
Just in back when you talked, obviously we know they're doing feasibility studies and what they're going to come up with, and it's not going to be done in 2 weeks, and hopefully it's not done in the back of a fag packet. Because if you want to do it, you want to get it right, and a word that comes up a lot is legacy. So you want to get it right for the future generations as well. So, you know, when the project all comes to fruition and there is some joined up thinking, that could be really when the support could get involved. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I want to get one or two of the ones off the ground. So I think, like, the stuff we talked about, the statues, are probably ones that in the short term we're going to go do pretty quickly. I think they're just getting a few different pricing quotes for some of that. Like, look, lighting and the Walter Smith statues, like a no-brainer. But obviously we'd have to get some of the wiring down across to power it. So for me, that is going to be, I don't think it's a long-term thing. I think that's something we can do, but we just need to get it properly priced up. But as you start to see some of those things happen around the stadium, then it's that snowball effect thing you mentioned as well, that should really help. So yeah, like, I'd rather have, not one big project that takes forever to do, and actually have 10 or 12 ones that you can kind of roll out over different periods of the year.
That'd be interesting, because obviously if you did do something saying the statues and there is a bigger project, they'll be moved, so they're still going to be part of the club. So any money that's invested there is not going to be wasted.
Exactly, spot on. And that was part of the thinking as well. It's not like
Yeah.
you're going to be, remove that. No way, right? So, your money's well spent there. So,
Are we
Yeah,
going
Tom.
to? Is the Rangers going to make a place available for AGMs in Ibrox?
They're big enough at the moment, mate. That was one of
I'm
the disappointments.
just wondering if they're going to make it. That's what I'm asking.
Well,
If we know.
you're going to have to wait and see what comes out in the feasibility study. I mean, one of the disappointments,
Okay.
I think Southside mentioned that way back in the start, was that Edmondson House wasn't big enough, and I don't know if you would be able to answer that question.
yeah, no, look, I think it's all part of, like, the feasibility study. So they'll have a look at it. I would imagine, they'll look at, they'll look at this like proper businessmen, right? Like, in terms of how much does it cost to hire out, the hydro or whatever, right? And then, can they offset that by, maybe they're building something, but it's, dual function, right? So that they can do more. I think, yeah, the answer is you can't really do it at Edmondson House in its current mould, but Edmondson House will have a big part to play in that whole Ibrox regeneration, right? The whole footprint of the stadium, not just the stadium itself. So I would expect, you might see expansions even to that building, or you might see integration longer term between the two, the stadium and Edmondson House as well. But yeah, I think I'm sure they'll look at it. It's certainly something I've heard a number of times mentioned as well. So, yeah.
My last question is for the disabled stands or disabled areas, particularly in the Copland Road. I take it they're completed and there's no more remedial work going to be done there?
I think for the work that's going into it now, that's done. I would imagine like it's just about what the future is. So how they want to do it with I would say like most things in Ibrox like will be on like a little bit of a pause. So if you think about, obviously we had the whole situation at the start of last season with the extension, the sort of cantilever. And so we did it on one side of the stadium and we haven't done it all the way around. I'm sure that was part of the original previous kind of owning group idea and plan. But I wouldn't expect that to be continued until they have that full Ibrox regeneration proposal put together, which is the right way to do it.
Well, I was under the impression that you were going to, that was supposed to be going to do the what do you call it, the other one.
The Broomloan Road.
The Broomloan, I couldn't get out there.
That was put on hold, Bridge, last year because of what happened, mate, yeah?
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, but listen, Ewan, thanks very much. We're going to go back to the football now, yeah? For the last part of the show, yeah?
All good. Well, hopefully that was helpful and insightful. I really appreciate you having me on. So
thanks for doing the time. And what's your aspirations and the legacy you're hoping to leave on Wednesday, mate?
Yeah, look, Wednesday, I think I wasn't as positive, I don't think, until like the last couple of games. But seeing the new signings coming in, for me, it's I'm excited to see what they do. Motherwell are a great team. They're as good as I've seen them for a long, long time. So it'll be I reckon it's a high scoring game. But I expect us to come out on top.
Yeah. Southside, fair to say, any victory, mate?
Well, aye, close. Any victory does points to our performance, but looking forward to Wednesday night. I'm sure the Bears behind the goal will be loud and proud as always, and we'll cheer the team to victory. It's another aspect as well. It's the scrambles for tickets now, Ewan, as you know. It's when the Bears are doing well and we're fighting for this league title now, some of the stadiums, and I know it's nothing that Club 1874 probably brings up. It might be something to do with the advisory board and stuff going forward, but I find it hard that clubs in Scotland, you look at Hibs for instance, the way they've slashed our tickets for no apparent reason, to be honest. Let's be honest. We used to get the full behind the goal, and you seen in the last visit there was loads of seats empty, and up the top they've left other seats empty. And I know it's their choice because it's them that's losing money, but I think it's something that the club should try and address as well going forward for the support in certain stadiums that we're going to now. But they're just cutting the tickets back for no apparent reason. Aberdeen have done the same over the last season or two. And I know I've heard the argument for a couple of supporters for other teams saying, well, you don't give us many tickets. You only give us a corner section and that. We only get about 800 tickets and whatnot. But my argument to them is our ground's bigger than yours. We fill more tickets and you could be doing with the money when we're coming there. There's no reason why you couldn't give the full allocation. That's the thing that probably disappoints me more than anything at the moment in Scottish football, Ewan.
I don't disagree with you. You're right. It's the clubs in question. Like, and we're all part of this sort of little ecosystem in Scotland, right? We the rivalry is probably, it's not just Celtic and Rangers, right? But like we seem to get odds with everyone because of how intense it is up here. And sometimes these decisions are made maybe not less for financial reasons and more for whether it's political or personal reasons. And look, it's always a shame. I personally look at it as not just supporters that miss out on that. It's Scottish football as a brand. When you see stuff on live games on television, and the main stand view that you get of whatever stadium you're at, and you're seeing 3/4 full stadiums at best in some cases. So and then obviously a boisterous Rangers support, we obviously would add to that. But I think within fairness, it's funny how you don't really hear that same type of conversation down south. We couldn't talk about other leagues as I don't watch them as closely, but this doesn't seem to be a thing in England, and it just seems to you have a full stadium and you have a full away allocation, and that's just the way it is, with less sort of bickering about it all.
In the Premier League, it's not quite the same in the rest of the leagues. Yeah.
Aye, maybe. Aye, it could be. So,
Also the Premier League in England, they're starting to look at the amount of empty seats.
aye, are they starting to lose
And
some
they're
of their
starting to
attendances?
look at
Aye.
it as well.
I suppose Man City, I know that it's always been a bit hit or miss with them at times, but that's the nature of their club.
Yeah,
but
I agree totally.
just in general.
If anybody was wanting to market Scottish football, one of the things you'd want to do is get the grounds full and have an atmosphere. You'd also want to get the grounds to a certain standard, Southside, if you're honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye, well, if you go and visit Dundee United and you're unfortunate to get a ticket for the Jerry Kerr stand and nobody behind the goal, it's no the most, it's no great trying to go in and up that wee stupid staircase that they've got into the Jerry Kerr stand. But aye, it's just, it's Scottish football just hates itself. That's the way I look at it. But aye, there'll be ticket scrambles all over the place going forward. But I was lucky to get one through my Managerials for Motherwell. So looking forward to Wednesday night and hopefully a Rangers victory.
Yes.
Yeah. Biggest game of the season, Rich man.
The biggest game of the season for a long time, I tell you that. We've been heading towards this, haven't we? A number of games, but on one at a time, please. And Wednesday night, a massive game, absolutely massive game. And I think Motherwell are even playing better than they were when the last time we played them. I thought they were a very good team when we played them. I think they're playing even better. So I think we're in for a fight. But fortunately, we've got a lot of players that have joined the club there, and they look as if they'll be good additions, strong players, and some of the guys that will maybe let go made some changes to the club. I think we've got enough in the club now to be able to put a good team out and take the 3 points off them. Might be still a big fight, but I still think we've got it. That performance the other night is a huge boost for every player that played that game, and they connected to it in any way. Massive lift.
Confidence, I don't think it will affect the outcome. I think what will affect the outcome is the snowballers were gathering up. Smurf, but Motherwell are in good form as well. I think they were a point behind us when Russell Martin left, so their form's pretty good as well over the piece.
Aye, they've been pulling up trees. It's a good young manager that they've got there.
Good stuff, mate.
And what he's doing with sort of bang average players. He's got a fantastic.
Oh, wait a minute, I'll cut across you. Bob, Jen, I think you've got the.
I'm going to put it off, Paul. Thank you.
Yes, carry on, Smurf.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is what they've got going on there, with sort of, average players. He's got them playing some fantastic stuff, and I think it could be a really, really good, open, entertaining game. But I don't see anything other than the Rangers win. I think the quality of player that we've brought in is just a bit beyond Motherwell now, and I'm totally convinced that we'll go on and win the league now. I can't see how we won't. And it's night and day. It was depressing under Russell Martin. You just couldn't believe what you were seeing. The nonsense that you were confronted with. It's night and day, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the double header. I was listening to Southside saying he doesn't like them, but it's an opportunity to effectively end any hopes of a league title and a cup double in one fell swoop. So all in all, totally confident going forward. I'm looking forward to 5 o'clock in the first of March, and we'll see where we are.
Evening, Bob, Jen.
Good evening. Apologies for having the telly on.
That's all right.
Either that or the remote didn't work. Put it off. I was listening to the gentleman's discussion there about the outlet. I can just touch on it a wee bit about the outlook of the stadium. And being a Rangers fan all my days up, I've seen it come to fruition under the Wally World Stadium we've got now. But these things take a lot of time and they take a lot of money. Do you remember when David Murray wanted the Grund So that'll be in training. The training ground used to be in one of the shopping centres, so the women could go shopping and the men could go to the game, and they would build a railway station there, etc. That never came to fruition. Look, someone, as you say, didn't come with feasibility studies. I'm not a man of economics or anything like that, but I've heard all this. Unfortunately, deterioration is part of life, and football stadiums are no exception. But any improvement, I mean, we're a big club. We're looking to go forward now under the 49ers, looking to get back into the Champions League to make money, and hopefully this all comes to fruition. Anyway, we've got an old firm double header coming up. It's going to be an exciting time going forward. Starting on Wednesday night out at Firth Park at Motherwell. We're doing very well. But I'm used to saying I think that the Rangers have got a different class of player now, different class of manager. And I think it'll be a hard game, it'll be tough, we know that. But I think we'll have too much for them. I certainly hope so anyway. There's a big period coming up for us, a lot of big games, as I said previously. We're a big club and we play big games. And here we go into a heavy programme. And I think we'll come out the other end of it all right. So, there you go, the new guys.
Cheers, Bob. You and then you come, mate.
I know, I appreciate the call, and you're right. Look, I think there's probably been a number of different things in the past. You know, the casino, I remember, and the shopping centre.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's like, but you know, as long as they plan it sensibly, right? And it's also like, I guess the feasibility study is like, it's how do you do, maybe not just, you know, one big answer, right? This is going to cost 100 million, right? To do whatever. That you can look at it from a segment side of things, like, you know, if you actually have almost a menu of ultimately the things that you can do, and at that point you look at how that fits into your revenue plans as well. So I think they'll go about it the right way. Look, Leeds announced theirs down south, so their expansions and, you know, feasibility studies now done, and they're moving forward with it. So I'm pretty hopeful like they would do the same thing here. They are going to want to make money, right, out of the club, and that's this is absolutely one of the ways to do it. In fact, probably one of the main ways to do it. So for me, I would be fairly optimistic it's going to happen. But ultimately, you know, as long as they keep the fans and the supporters, like, you know, in the loop in their thoughts in terms of how they do that sensibly with care and attention to our history as well, which I believe, and based on every conversation I've had, that's the way they're approaching it, then I would expect some good results out of it for sure. And if we can play a small part or even a big part, then I'd be delighted.
Just on the football, football, no problem, Bob. Everybody's mentioned the new players. Would you play the 4 new players on Wednesday night, you personally, if you were Danny Rose?
I think Raskin comes in, but I don't think at the expense of Chukwueze. I think Chukwueze will play. So I think it's maybe, you know, it's the question, is Dio drop out? I don't know. But I think they'll all play. I don't see why he wouldn't, because if you think about it, he's changed the formation since in the last 2 games since they come in, because he's got the players he needs. The striker will play. Romans absolutely will play. I think the only one, like, you know, Skov Olsen's probably still working fitness up, but he's getting better with each game. So for him, that might be the only question mark, but I don't see who else should really play. I know Gassama is kind of hit or miss in some of those games. So yeah, I think he plays them all.
Just on another note, Joe Rothwell's just had a red card. I've been told that I think it's his debut for Sheffield United. Is
that right? Right now, is it? It's probably breathing out his backside, trying to catch up with someone.
It was 80 minutes. He couldn't have played the whole game up to then. He must have just come on. I'm going to get that checked out. So, did you play the 4 new players?
I would probably be tempted to. Listen, we brought them in January to improve the team and improve the squad, make us better. I think Raskin does come back into the team at the expense of whoever. I mean, Mikey Moore obviously might be looking to start him and all. Listen, we've got a good choice of selection now. Players are fighting to get in the team. Players are wanting to impress. Listen, Ant-Man playing off the left hasn't been a bad idea. And even when he moved there to the right-hand side, he had an assist. With the big striker, big Ryan Nadini, he's got to play. He's got to. He's got good movement. He's got good work rate. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if he goes to 4-4-2 against Motherwell, or whether he'll go to 4-2-3-1. That'll be the most interesting one to see him get to Fir Park on Wednesday night, Ox.
If he plays a 4-2-3-1, I think Raskin and Big Tucci, that's your two. And then it's who you play in front of him, and I think he'll play Diamande, mate. I think Asgard comes up.
Aye, possibility. If he does that, aye. If he plays a 4-4-2, then you might find Diamande still finds a place in the team, maybe.
Aye, maybe on the left, but then you've who's the right? Would it be Olsen? And then the two up front, would that be your two big strikers, mate? What are you thinking?
I think if Chimiti's fit, I would probably play him up with the big one, the big boy we brought in. I would definitely play the two of them. Majowski's all right. Listen, we need physicality, we need height, and that's something that we've been lacking in the team for a long time. But Chimiti, although he's no been the out-and-out goal scorer or getting into these sort of positions, he's got a presence, he can hold the ball up, he's got physical attributes, and listen, they two might work really well. I think if he's fit, I think he's got a chance of starting along with Ryan Nadini, definitely.
Aye. Maybe Smurf, you got your team, mate.
I think the new boy is definitely going to start, the big striker, and I think that Diamande's come on to a right game. I can't see him. Asgard, I agree with you. I struggle to see a future for Asgard at Rangers, let alone playing an Hendricks game.
Yeah, but to be fair, the boy, I mean, I've not liked him, Smurf, but you could have said that about Chernete in the past. With Fernandez at the start of the season, you could have said that about other players, you know.
Aye, it's a fair comment. Forward, it's a fair comment. But I think he's going to drop out.
I'm not enamoured with him, but I get it, mate.
And the boy, Moore, I think he's going to play. It'll just be, we seem to have went for rags to a wealth of riches in terms of players in a very short space of time. Some of that's through purchasing players, and some of it's guys that have been out the team and come back in and have and turned up, like Diamande. You know, he had a break. He out the team. He's come back. I think he's a different guy. So, and I think that's down to the manager. So, Asgard comes out the team. Scove Olsen would start, and a fancy Ant-Man half the left. The number 9 that we brought in, that German boy, I think he's got to start. For me, it's a 4-3-3 we'd be playing.
Well, interesting. Bridgeman, you being the defensive expert, who are you playing it right back?
Oh, excuse me, I'll go for Sterling. Right back. Right. I don't think we can do. Actually, Tavernier's done no too bad, truth be told. So it can be between the two. But I'd go for a bit of strength at the back, physicality, and I'm basing that on the fact that we might get Fernandez back. So you're going to have Giga and Fernandez, and then the German boy, right, whatever it is anyway. I'd put him back in. There's your back four.
He's Belgium, mate. Belgium.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Different kinds of chocolate, mate, and the beers. We've been joined by Ross. Evening, Ross.
All right, brothers. How's it going, mate?
How you doing, mate? What's on your mind, Ross?
Just to say, if you're still there, mate, I just listened to your talking, and mate, well done. Just hopefully get you back on, because everything was brand new what you said. Well done, mate.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. And look, I've appreciated all the feedback, but yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on to say so.
Just again, I look after a wee boy, Rudy Parker from Auckland, and he's disabled and basically can't do anything for himself, so I'm looking for a wee bit of support for him as well. Ewan, I don't know if you maybe sort of something out from as well.
You remember, Ewan's no part of the club, mate. He sits in a different place.
Right. Okay.
But I think I mean that's where the charity foundation do a really good job, right? So I would definitely ask you to reach out to them.
Right.
They've done a number of things. I think there was actually I can't remember the kid's name. I'm really sorry, but there was a kid that had some life-changing issues on his side, and like a number of people retweeted it, right? And apparently the charity foundation had already been in touch around getting him to be a mascot and things like that as well. So they're definitely a great place to go to, especially if I know it's always a difficult situation to deal with, but certainly something to get in touch with them about.
Aye, no bother, mate. Just to say well done today, and hopefully he's back on with the Rangers manager as well.
Brilliant. Will do.
Cheers, Rob.
And I'd love to come back on as well. So if you guys didn't get bored of me, then absolutely give us a shout. So
I'll want to say no surrender on the Rangers.
Cheers, Ross. Catch you later, mate. Listen, you're welcome back anytime. We like talking about football, but we like updates about anything that's going on at the club. Yeah, simple, mate. Simple.
Definitely.
Just for Rothwell came on at half time, roughly 46 minutes. So he still never done a lot of football. So.
I've said it before a million times on here. Once you leave the famous Glasgow Rangers, I've got no desire in what they do. Anyway, I couldn't give a sugar.
I chuckled at that one. Chuckled.
Aye, listen, it did. I was surprised they put a tackle on, if I'm honest.
We never seen that, did we? Listen, big game on Wednesday night. Right back. I'm assuming if Fernandes is fit, Fernandes and Suter, south side.
I would think so. I think if Fernandes, I don't know who's just rested or what, or had a wee illness, I'm not sure. But I think he would come back. And I think James Tavernier's playing right back. I don't think he'll change it. I think he'll start. I said the other day he would probably start back in the team. And I think he maybe come back in and start again on Wednesday night. Sterling done all right. And I can see a reason for him playing or getting, but I think when it's going to be in the centre-back positions, I think Fernandes is a good chance of coming back. Jiga's played not too bad as well, to be honest. I was glad that he changed his attire on Sunday, took these stupid leggings off. I wouldn't have let him on the park, and I don't know if you would have, but I would have sent him back in the dressing room to get changed, mate. When they had him come out dressed like that.
I didn't particularly like the look necessarily, but do you know, like a lot of people talked about the it looking like the clubby or the the founding fathers kit that they had in that old picture that you've seen. So technically that's obviously what we base Club 1872's brand on. So I should probably be promoting it, but yeah, no, it wasn't for me.
When you imagine how much material you need for Chermity and buying the dairy.
Oh, but maybe there's a branding opportunity or a.
He stands at 6'4", and when he scores, you will hear us roar. We love Managerial's goals.
Whoa!
His name is Managerial. He stands at 6'4", and when he scores, you will hear us roar. We love Managerial's goals. His name is Managerial. He stands at 6'4", and when he scores, you will hear us roar. We love Managerial's goals.
That was brilliant. Well done, Foxy.
I was for you, Bridgeman. I think that's
Oh,
the best
thank
one
you. I
since
love
Magic
them. I just
Carpet.
love those songs. Love it.
Sorry about that, Ewan.
No, I was all right. I was killing your perfectly timed transition, so apologies.
Bridgeman likes a tune. You enjoy that, Bridge?
Oh, absolutely brilliant. That's really great. The guy's only in the door and I've got songs about him. Oh, my goodness.
know.
Brilliant. Just brilliant.
You know you've made it.
Aye, exactly,
Gerrard.
exactly.
Bob, you're a good tune, but you've got to do the business on the park. Last word for your good self, Mucker.
Absolutely. I do believe that we've got a good gin here. And I believe he'll score more than a few goals for Rangers. It's a good feeling now about the Jazz. We've got a good pool of players, a good manager. We're back up that league where we should be. And it's onwards and upwards into a hard programme. And I think we can come out the other side of it all right. And that includes a double header against who shouldn't even be in the tournament. But that's life in Scottish football. Good night, lads. All the best for the moment. I'll see you all later on in the week. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Bob. Cheers. Glad to have you back, Liz Smurf. Here's a medical update and how you've been and how your Christmas was, mate. Really pleased to hear from you, brother.
I've been okay. Good, same fettle. No, it's good to it's my emotional self is good as well. Rangers are in a good place.
It helps.
Thanks to you. Yeah, it helps. It helps. I think the double's on. I think we'll do it. Totally relaxed, totally confident about it. And thanks to you and his cohorts, Rangers past, present and future seems to be in good hands too. So all in all, can't complain. Good night and thanks for taking my call, lads.
Cheers, Smurf. Good to speak to you. Always good to speak to you. Southside. Getting near that time of year.
Aye, no, it's been great to listen to you and come on and talk about Rangers and talk about 1872 and tell us what's happening and going forward in that. So it's been a real education and it's been good to get him on. Hopefully he can come back on soon and give us updates and stuff, or maybe come on one night and just talk about the team we all love, the Glasgow Rangers. Certainly a big difference in their team, Ox, as Smurf was saying, since we were standing in the terraces in Bruges getting battered 6-0, and as I told you before, I had the conversation with Russell Martin that time. They said, don't worry about it, things will get better. But aye, look where we are now. Going to Fir Park Wednesday night. Hopefully we'll batter them and put their title hopes and aspirations in the back burner, and then we go on to Midday Hearts and then that mob across the city. It's a great few weeks ahead with Livingston shoved in there and all to go there. But aye, looking forward to it. And it's all big games now for Glasgow Rangers. So as always, mate. Aye, of course it is, and we'll be loud and proud on Wednesday night at Fir Park, I'm sure. Looking forward to it. And just as long as Rangers do the business, that's what matters. And if it's 1-0, I'll take the 1-0 a Bridgeman. I'd like to see a few goals, and I think we've got enough players in our team. Exciting times ahead, and if we create the chances, I'm sure we'll find the back of the net. So as always, thanks for having us on, and there's only one team and one crown, mate. Cheers, can I thank YouTube? Can I thank the YouTube groups, mate, obviously, for tuning in tonight as always as well. I'd like to thank them for listening into the show, and I hope they enjoyed it.
Aye, mate. Aye. Listen, mate, always good to hear from you, mate. And three winners and 3 draws at the weekend. None beat, mate. None beat.
Aye, I know. We soldier on to Saturday. We soldier on.
Oh, yeah. Done better than Billy's horse, sir.
Aye, I know. He owes me that. He owes me. He owes me again. That's 2 or 3. That's 2 or 3 he gave me, man, and I've been battered. So aye, he owes me that, Billy. So he does. But aye, it's all fun, mate. It's all a bit of banter, and it's all good. So hopefully things will start to turn around. We'll get a couple of winners shortly, Billy included.
Aye, good to hear from you, mate. Aye, good to hear from you. Bridgeman.
Oh, what can I say, Ox? Yeah, fantastic show tonight. Brilliant for Mr. Ewan McFarlane, superb. And of course, you guys and the techie boys in the background. It's just magic. It's lovely to hear from all and speak to all of you. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, Wednesday night, biggest game of the season coming up, and so we need to win this. We really need to win this. So everybody, keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers really need you, and so do they.
Yep. Ewan McFarlane, thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate what everybody does for the Rangers family. Give up their time. Yeah.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. And look, thank you for having me on. I don't know if I'll be as inspirational as some of those sign-offs there, right? But like, at the end of the day, look, I love talking about Rangers. I love talking about the club and the football team and everything that we do for it, right? It's just it's great to kind of see that Rangers family kind of pulling together in the one direction. That's the most important thing. And when we do that, you know, we can do anything. But yeah, look, Wednesday night, thick and fast, these games are going to come. I'm positive about it. I think most Rangers fans are. And then obviously into the double header as well as we get through. We have Hearts as well as the 2 games against Celtic, which I'm pretty confident in all of them. So, you know, fingers crossed and all the best. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it, mate. Hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I really did. So thanks for making me feel so welcome. It was great.
No, not at all. Not at all. Listen, thanks to Bob Jer, Smurf, Ross, for taking the time to join us, Rangers Radio. Thanks to Ewan, the Club 1872 at the moment, for taking the time to join us here in Rangers Radio. Southside and Bridgeman for doing the show. Fox and All School Blue for doing the technical in the background. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10, talking about all things Rangers. Take it away, All School Blue.